you know what to do. You'll know what to pray, you'll know what to be thankful, you'll know in that moment what to do. So it sets that up for you. And I found it very interesting that, like with Robert Kenta, talks about the spirit being in the earth, in the ground, in the rivers, the streams, the fish, and all the people in the community, they live in a cycle of life. All these tribes do, in a sense, with their culture, community. They all participate annually. Climate Tribe does. Just about every people live where they are and experience spiritual things in their habitat. That led me to this, and out of all of those things that everyone talks about, I know some things very well, some things not so much. One thing I do know is dreams and visions, and I've lived my life by them and through them ever since I was a very, very little child. There are so many things that I've done and seen and done because I've seen them, and some things I just wandered into, and I've realized, well, wait a minute, it's those kind of moments, like deja vu. It's like I've already seen this, I already know what to do. So it's like set up before me. But they're not the greatest things, but I picked 4 things that have shaped my life and moved things through my life. And I'm sharing that with you today. Well, before that though, brief history of the Climate Tribe and situations with the Climate Tribe, and there are some things going on. 64, signing treaties, 54, when non-recognized, became unrecognized. Lyndon Johnson, when he addressed Congress, he said Native American lifespan was 44 years old. That had a huge impact on my stepdad and on my stepdad's dad. The idea that life could be over at 44, and by the time you're 20-something years old, your life is already half over, leaves you very little room to plan for a future, to think of a future, other kids in school or learn arithmetic and doing stuff. And in my mind, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know why. Why would I need to learn this? Why would I need to do this? Why? Because by the time I get to where these people are, it's over for me. Nixon did told the federal Congress, federal government should begin to recognize and build up capacities and insights for Indian people. So he fought Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act, Jimmy Carter, Religious Freedom Act. 1986, the Climate Tribe was restored. But they didn't receive land, they just got recognition. My dad, my stepdad, I call my dad, but my stepdad. He married my mom when he was 21. He couldn't have kids, but so he picked a woman who had 4 kids. And it's like, I want to pass down my traditions, I want to pass down my beliefs, I want to pass down my heritage, but how can I do that if I don't have any kids of my own? So if he found a woman who did, he could do these things. Him and his dad had a strong impact on him. It was a time era where kids were going to boarding school, people were doing things, we're losing our land, we're losing our identity. And he's seen it as a reflection of the tribe being weak and passive, and the tribe trying to go political, and it just wasn't fast enough. And my stepdad, as well as his dad, believed we should take everything back. He wanted to restore the people to the land. He wanted to take it back probably by force. They're inspired, of course, by people like the natives who took initiative and they wanted to make a political statement, take over Alcatraz, AIM, American Indian Movement. Stuff like that gave them little bits of hope. In the time era back then, there wasn't all this technology. There wasn't all of this structure where you could find things really fast with Google. You could find things. Things are still really hidden. There's areas of mountains no one knew about. There's all of this stuff that seemed like, well, I don't know, maybe taking our land back was maybe possible. Of course, I was really young too at the time. My dad believed that the world was spiritual, everything in it was spiritual. Native people, when they were taken from their land, they broke the agreement with the Creator that put them in the land. And whether it was by them or by someone else taking them away, it was still broken. My dad's beliefs had a strong impact on me. He raised me to take her back her land. This is the funny thing, though, is I never did anything to take land back or fight or do anything. But by the time I was 12 years old, I knew how to shoot a gun, kill a deer, hang a deer. I knew how to drive. I had my first job when I was 7. I spent a lot of time alone. I spent a lot of time with people and groups, classes who had no idea what I was thinking, why I was going certain ways or doing certain things. So it kind of became a commonplace for me. This class has really opened me up. And it may seem like it hasn't happened, like with DC and other places we all went as a group. But this is me out. This is me really stepping outside of myself and enjoying people. I was set on a path that he wanted me to do through my traditions, and like with Randy and Thomas and all of them, it covers the same things. But my focus, of course, is going to be on visions and dreams. When I was 13 years old, I was sitting in a social studies class, and probably for the second time. And I was sitting in there, and this woman wheels in a cart, and she had a TV, VCR, had all the stuff in it, and she like really excited, and she wanted to disrupt the class just for a moment to show everybody one thing. And it was Michael Jackson singing Billie Jean, and he did a moonwalk across the stage. It was life-changing for Michael, life-changing for this teacher. It became life-changing for me. And the reason why, let me see if I have the next one. I forgot all about it. It was on a Friday. But she's showing everyone in the class, she rewound it, he moonwalked, she rewound it, he moonwalked again. She was just excited. And I was sitting, and I was like, yeah. And I never said anything in this class before that I remember. And she just looked at me and she said, "What, can you do that?" And I'm like, "No, not yet, but I will." I will. And she goes, "Well, if you learn how to do that, I'll give you something special. I'll buy you something special." I'm like, "Sure, I'll learn how to do it." And I've heard all about it. And then we had like these Friday nights where all of us kids, all my relatives, everybody, we'd all come to the house, we'd watch TV till everyone falls asleep, we make popcorn, spaghetti, it's a big thing. And wherever you fall asleep is just where you fall asleep. And I happened to fall asleep between two people, and we're really just like sardines on bed. That night I had this dream that I got up, crawled out of the bed, I went over to the counter, put my hands on the counter, looked over this window, the sliding glass door window, and I put my hands on the counter, and I started moving my feet. And I watched my feet, and I watched my feet in the window. And all of a sudden, I see myself do the moonwalk. So I did it again. And then I just let go, and I said, "I'm not going to do it now." That was 100 pounds ago. But I did it. And then at that moment, someone hit me in the back. And it was like my cousin Randy. He was like, David. Or he always called me Buchanan because at the time he was mad. And he's like, "Wake up, you're kicking me." And I'm like, "What? I was asleep?" So I'm like, "Wow, that was cool." All right. So I got up. I was still in my socks and dressed and stuff. I pulled the curtain back, put my hands on it, and then I did it. I learned how to do the moonwalk. And then Monday at school, I was walking down the hallway on my way to class. And that teacher happened to walk past me. And she goes, "So, did you learn how to do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." She's like, "Really? Show me." So I did it. She's like, "Oh my God, That's so cool. That's great. She was, I'll be right back. She took off. She ran. She was gone for a little bit. I'm like waiting. And she comes back with some soda, some candy bars, and she goes, I didn't know what to get. I didn't know you could do it. So she had the stuff. And that had a huge impact on my life because before that, I did a lot of drinking and fighting and running around and stuff. Then I learned to move on. Then I learned to break dance. And then I learned to teach kids how to break dance. And down here is where my relatives kind of still did the same old path and did the same things. And it took me away, my spirit took me away from where I was going to go, what my stepdad wanted me to do, and put me somewhere else and took me to a different area. By that time, I had my third job. And one of the jobs was working as a custodian aide at a high school. And I got a new job teaching kids how to break dance at YMCA. And I was leaving the high school, and I always went on the same road every single time to get to my second job. Then one day they had construction. So there was this giant detour, and I'm like, oh, right, I'm time, I'm going to be late, so I take a turn. And then I go down this road. I've never been down it that often. And seen this girl carrying groceries in the car to the house. And the spirit inside me said, that's her. That's your future wife. That's who you're going to be with. And I'm like, whoa. All of this because some guy went across the stage, because some woman rolled in that cart that day. All of these things happened. She's been my best friend for 34 years. We've been married for 23. We have 4 kids. Wonderful kids. And that's how that whole dream went. That way.
Is that you in that top picture?
No. Yes, it's me. I was 14. Okay. Okay. There's a be like real rough one dream to the next dream. Being close with God. In 1993, I had this dream. God spoke to me and He told me, I want to spend more time with you. I'm like, all right. I mean, it's a great request. I mean, what do I can't turn it down, right? I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to quit drinking, slightly quit smoking, and I'm going to be good. So it lasted about 3 months, and then I forgot all about it. I forgot all about that I was going to be with God, that I was going to do stuff with God. And craziest thing happened. One night, my brother and I were playing cards at my mom's house, and we got in this little argument. Not a big deal. I tease him, he gets upset, turns the table, runs out to the front door, closes the door. Then I hear this. I'm like, did you forget your key? I'm like, hey bro, come here. I want to tell you I'm sorry. I'm like, Dad, open up the door. No one there. Stand outside. Nobody there. And all of a sudden, cops come running out from everywhere. Grab me, handcuff me, take me to jail. When I see Judge Beasley, he says, David, I had high hopes for you, and I thought, just a slash, you're going to do great. You're going to be a good person. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. And he said, I'm going to extend you 23 months. And you're going to go 23 months. And I'm like, you know the house they arrested me at was my mom's? It's on my ID. He goes, yeah, but there's sooner or later, right? Sooner or later it's going to be the same situation. So 23 months. So okay, well, usually said 23 months. So I went back to the jail, and I was in jail, a little upset And I was thinking, how can I be arrested for being where I live, right? But I was. And I started getting upset, and I was calling, I was trying to get out of jail. What can we do? This whole thing's not right, kind of a thing. And then that night I went to sleep. And you have to understand, a whole year went by, right? So I go to sleep, and I'm asleep, and God says, where are you going? Why are you trying to get away from me? And I'm like, what? Really? Now? He's like, yeah, now. And I'm like, I didn't know. All right, sounds great. So the next day, I call my wife, I call my son, I call him, hey, whoa, forget the attorneys, forget everything, forget all this stuff. Don't even worry about it. I'm fine. Are you sure? Yeah. Talked to God last night. He said, hey, where are you going? I told you we were going to spend time together. I said, oh, you're right. So, okay, I'm going to stay. So I stayed. Then I ended up going back to court. And I was in court, and Judge Roxanne says, David, I looked at all of your arrests and stuff throughout your life. Everything seems to be alcohol related. I said, yeah. She goes, would you consider going to a treatment program? It's 15 months long, but would you consider going? I'm like, yeah, sure. I go, I got 23 months, so 15 of those, sure. And she goes, okay, that sounds great. So signed papers, leaving court, got all the way to the door, and she calls me back. She says, since you want to do this, I'm going to reduce it from 23 to 15. Oh, you don't have to do that. That's all right. She goes, no, I'm going to. So she did. I'm like, okay, that sounds great. It took me 3 months to get to Powder River where they had this treatment center. When I got there, I said, they said you missed the window of starting. You're going to have to wait. I said, well, okay, well, sure. And they said, well, it's 15 months long. I'm like, yeah, I know. I got 15 months. I know it took you 3 months to get here. I'm like, oh, so what does that mean? So you can't even take the program. Oh, all right. Unless you want to stay longer. I'm like, not if I don't have to. And I got my release papers. And they said you're going to have 2 months. And so I said, okay. I signed it. Well, actually, I signed it without looking. And the guy's like, did you even look at it? I'm like, my release papers. He goes, yeah, but you look at the month, the date, the time, the year? I'm like, no. It's like you're getting out 2 months. I'm like, wow. That's amazing. Shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? However, being with God, or being in that moment where I could share, talk, and be with people, that I don't know why, it seems important. And it was important to me, and that's what I did. I shared everything I could possibly share. But not upset. I was not no discord. I did what I thought I was supposed to say and do. An example of that would be like going to Washington, D.C. And if a person in Washington, D.C. says, there's nobody here to talk to me. Everyone knows me. They walk past me. I'm sick here every day, and no one sees me. No one says hi to me. No, God says, you know what? I'm going to send you somebody that's going to stop and talk to you. I'm flying him in for morning. He's going to come in, and he's going to be here. He's going to talk to you. He's like, no way. I'm like, oh, yeah. Get ready for David. He's coming right your way. And that's what happens in my life. And that's how I live my life. I wouldn't know how to live my life any other way than what happens. So the 23 months was reduced. Here's San Diego Correctional Facility. Right here. On this side, it was just a field. The tail field and farm stuff, but mainly it's a field. I sit right there. And I said, God, what do you want me to do now? I had worked right there across the street. That place didn't exist when that happened. So the whole time I was at Clown Falls, learning things, learning how to be a person, learning how to communicate, talk, go to school, bachelor's degree in applied psychology, working several jobs, maniac at cooking. All of this stuff led to me being right here at the Institute. And it's amazing that I look at the facility now and I think, when I first drove up to it, my job interview, I'm like, well, yeah, I remember that place. Across the street, right? I got released right there. And then I drove up a little further, looked to the left, I'm like, whoa, this wasn't here. This is exactly where I was standing when I said, now what do you want? So I expect big things. I don't know what, but it makes me happy, optimistic. The beach dream. As I'm going through my life, I always try to find a way to understand why I dream things, why I experience certain things, like the going to jail thing. One of the things that disturbed me the most was I had this dream one night that I was walking on the beach. I was partying with friends. We were having a great time. Everything was wonderful. And I passed out. I woke up. It's cold. It's wet. And I'm like, oh, where'd everybody go? And then I noticed that there's a smell. There was a horrible foul smell in the air. And I'm like intrigued. I'm walking towards it, trying to find out what it is. And I looked behind this wood, and it was a woman. And she was mutilated. She was cut to pieces. It was awful. And then my alarm went off, and I woke up and I went to work. The whole time I'm there, I'm thinking, why did I bring this? Why am I having this image in my head? I didn't understand. So I fasted and prayed and did stuff for about 3 months. And then one night, my wife and I was leaving Albertsons, and they have a gas station / grocery store kind of convenience store thing. And we went over to get gas. And I'm there, we're at the pump getting gas. I look out, I see this guy walk out the door, and he has beer. And I see him get in his car. Then I see the bottle. And I'm thinking, that's not right. And my wife looks at me and she goes, hey, you want to stop at the store and get some soda or something before you go home? I'm like, sure. So he drove over there. And keep in mind, for like 3 months, it bothered me to the point where I had no friction, no relationship to my life, right? But when I went to see this guy in the car, he was all alone, he was crying, he was sitting there by the steering wheel. And I said, hey, can I talk to you? Just real quick, I see what you're doing, and, you shouldn't drink, and if you're a drink, there's nothing wrong with drinking, but you shouldn't drive. And if you would like me to take you anywhere, do anything with it for you or whatever, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Then I noticed the passenger seat was empty, and so I said, yeah, you mind if I come in? Just sit down right here, talk to me. He's like, sure. So I got in the car, sat down. I'm like, kind of like, tell me what's going on. What has happened? So he tells me, him and his girlfriend are from Alaska. And they got all the way to Clown Falls. They were supposed to get married. And she kind of used him as a ticket to get to Clown Falls. And as soon as they got to Clown Falls, she cut him loose. So he was heartbroken. I'm like, oh man, I get it. I've been there. Well, not exactly that, but I get it, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm telling him, I'm like, that's bad. I hate it. Tell you what, why don't we just lock in the car? You come with me, take wherever you gotta go, do what you gotta do, And then he said, but that's not the worst thing. That's not what's really, really bothering me. And I said, okay. What happened? He said, I just got off the phone with my cousin. They just found my cousin's body on the beach, and she was mutilated. And I'm like, now I know. Now I know why these last 3 months I've been praying and fasting and seeking God. Because somewhere there's somebody who's having these feelings. And I can't get into the conversation and all that other stuff, but I did this I could. That's all, you know. But that happens to me a lot in my life. And I turned him over to more qualified people. I was still actually at that stage working on my psychology degree. But it made sense to why I might have that. And, you know, in that moment, I actually had maybe a comforting word, maybe some kind of feeling towards what he may be experiencing as far as it goes. But otherwise, I could have just wrote the whole thing off. But in my mind, I can't do that. These things, to me, line up like stars in the sky. They're for a reason, for a purpose type thing. And I'm going to go to this one, which is, I think, my last one. Yeah. And I always like this one. I say this all the time. If you're trapped in the car with me more than 2 miles, you'll hear this one. Because I don't talk much, but when I do talk, I talk a lot. My youngest son came up to me one time at the store, and he goes, "Dad, how'd you quit drinking?" I'm like, no way. I drink, I like to drink. I drink all the time. I like the taste of drinking. I like how it feels. No, Dad, you should quit drinking. As I'll tell you what I told your siblings, there's nothing can make me quit drinking. Nothing. And then he said, nothing? I'm like, all right, well, God can quit drinking. And then he smiled and ran away. I'm like, wait a minute. Where are you going? I'm like, I could just feel it now. It's going away, right? And I had this dream. I had a dream that, in this dream, my wife and I are driving down the road. Some people, some idiots, just robbed a liquor store. And they're running down the street with cases of booze. And then you hear cop sirens. These people are like leaving booze behind because they can't carry all of it. So I'm like, pull over. And my wife's like, no, you're fine. Why not? Pull over. I give you some rum. So I get out, I grab a bottle of rum. I take out the top, I go to drink it, and then the bottom falls out. All the booze is gone. I'm like, what's going on? Reach over, I grab another one, take out the top, go to drink it, bottom falls out. I'm like, you know what? I know. I reach in the car, I pull out my 32-ounce cup of tea, throw it across the road, grab another bottle, open it up, fill it up. I'm like, yeah, see, I smarted it that time. So I go to drink it, bottom falls off, everything falls out. And I look at the cup, and I'm like, whoa. I look right into heaven. I'm like, you're going to make me sober. Okay. All right. That's good. And I praise God. Oh, that's good. And I woke up. And I'm like, what? I kid. And then I went back to sleep. And for my second dream, I had a dream I got up, I went down to Circle K, bought 2 beers, I drank one, and I poured the other one in the sink. So I woke up, I looked at my clock, and it's still time to go to the store, so I went down there, bought 2 beers, I drank one, poured the other one out, forgot. It's sober for 8.5 years. And what's really crazy about that is that I don't feel like drinking ever. The spirit of it is gone. And where the spirit used to be, God's spirit is. But what's really funny though is that it only lasts 4 years. And then God's spirit starts to go away, and then that spirit starts to come back.
And then so this last time I said, okay, Lord, how about 4 more years? And he said, how about 6? So I got another year or so before I could drink. But I'm fine, you know, I'm not hurting, I don't have cravings. People around me drink all the time. I had a friend that used to drink with me a lot, and almost every day we worked, he's like, oh, it's almost over, wanna go to the store? I'm like, nah, I'm fine. And I'm fine. My son wanted me to say, statistically speaking, being Native American, I'm like very risky than alcoholism than any other race, and it's probably true. My stepdad died when he was 27, and Native Americans live longer now than 44. But he really believed in the things he believed, and it really did shape my life. It took me a long time to work my way, navigate away from everything, and kind of be more of a person. And I remember consciously thinking when I was 34 years old, I'm actually going to start living my life, start thinking about what I'm going to do with my life. And it's a little late in the game, but probably better late than never, I hope. But one of the things I wanted to do when I turned 34 was experience everything new, to see everything new. If something bothered me, I'd weigh out why it bothered me. Did it really bother me? Am I really affected by it? And if it is, then no, don't need it, let it go. But I don't know, as far as my friends, family, and people, I try to find people kind of like on the same road I am, same struggle I did, and work with them and talk with them and help them. But it doesn't have to be Native American people. It's usually a lot of people. I know we don't have time. I don't know, I'm like out of time now, but there is so many dreams and things that have happened. It takes a long time probably, but it takes a lot more time actually to go over it. But I skipped why I lift weights. I skip why I choose places I live. There's so many things that I don't do anything without spiritual guidance. And I know I could talk about the things that Randy, Thomas, and Robert, and all of them respected people talked about, but this is kind of like where I really have my heart at. And through my climate heritage and culture, God walks me through my dreams, visions. One of the cool things that I like about it is that I didn't really get my innocent, sweet, loving youth of a child like I wanted childhood. My kids, however, are like 100 times better than I am as a person, as a human being, as a humanitarian. I remember my kids saying, I want to go volunteer. And I'm like, volunteer? Why are you going to volunteer? It didn't make sense. So like, oh, but wait, we raised you different. You're going to be great. So, we encourage that. My wife's family, she is Kickapoo tribe. Her family and everything is distraught and unbalanced. Mine is, and it was kind of funny because we're both really not there, but as one person, we kind of try to raise productive people for society. And I see my grandkids, and they're funny, they're hilarious. I see they're just now turned 10, and one turned 13. And I was thinking, wow, of all the things I did before I was 13 is insane. And but they don't have any trauma. They don't have any of these moments where they have to re-compass, well, what am I doing? Why am I here? What am I looking at? And it's healthy, and I love that. So it took a little bit to undo what regulations, laws, policies, and all those things kind of did to a small band of Modoc people in Beatty, Oregon. But I'm here for listening. And you're like, encore, one more story.